warned against any new wars in the Middle East. AHMADINEJAD says Israel and its allies will pay a heavy price if Tel Aviv launches another offensive in the Gaza Strip.
Iran's president has warned Israel and its Western supporters against making another mistake in the Middle East.
I
want to warn Israel and its supporters that enough is enough. No more crimes. Your record is already full of too many stains. Do not commit any more crimes. A new adventure will not salvage you, but it will put an end to you.
Israel's war in Gaza at the turn of last year claimed 1,400 mostly civilian Palestinians' lives and destroyed thousands of homes in the enclave under Israel's siege since 2007. On Friday, an Israeli official said another large-scale military operation would be launched in the near future against the territory. Ahmadinejad says the mistakes made in Iraq and Afghanistan wars should not be repeated. He says the slogan of war against terror by the United States has only been a pretext to justify its military presence in the region. He says the U.S.-led wars in Iraq and Afghanistan did little other than serve to multiply terrorists and drug traffickers and make the Middle East more insecure. Iran's president lashed out at the nuclear-armed states who voiced concern about the Islamic Republic's nuclear activities. He said those who claim they oppose the proliferation of weapons of mass destruction should disarm first.
If one single nuclear weapon, which you baselessly claim Iran is making, is this dangerous, how dangerous are thousands of weapons that you possess? Who should be held responsible? Who should face sanctions? Who should be punished? If we are the accused, your crime is already proven.
Ahmadinejad, who was speaking at the inauguration of the Middle East's largest iron ore pellet plant, said the West's threats of sanctions will never stop Iran's progress.
Well, over 500 anti-nuclear activists gathered in Belgium to call for an end to nuclear weapons in a protest that ended up with clashes with police.
Well, it's an important moment where the nuclear powers will have to make clear how they want to implement their disarmament duty, which is also part of the Non-Proliferation Treaty. So we hope that a clear disarmament agenda is talked about at an NPT review conference, and that also the tactical nuclear weapons in Europe are part of it.
We came here because of the nuclear weapons, because we think they are not useful anymore and we do not understand why they are still here. We are protesting against this.
Well, the demonstrations turned violent when the protesters tried to break into a military base. They believe the Belgian government is storing 20 U.S. nuclear weapons illegally in the site. The same protests took place in a series of European countries. The activists urged a global nuclear disarmament and establishing what they called as a European Day of Action Against Nuclear Weapons. The protests take place 1 month before a conference in New York to review the UN's Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, or the NPT. Under the treaty, 5 nuclear powers, including the US, Russia, Britain, France, and China, are obliged to phase out their arsenal. Now, South African white far-right leader Eugene Terreblanche has been killed on his farm. The 69-year-old Terreblanche was beaten to death with pipes and knives on his farm. A 21-year-old man and a 15-year-old boy have been arrested and charged for his murder. The two told the police that the argument happened because they were not paid for the work they did on the farm. Terreblanche fought to preserve apartheid and campaigned for a separate white homeland in the early 1990s, but had recently lived in relative obscurity. Now, police in Britain have arrested 9 people after clashes with ultra-right demonstrators. The West Midlands police say they had deployed numerous officers to prevent any clashes between anti-Muslim demonstrators and those from a counter-rally.